Greetings, everyone. Welcome to May's Wednesday morning roundtable program. I'm Robert Hoffman and will facilitate the program today. I'm also joined by Jesse Klein, a minister of the Wednesday morning roundtable. This is the last topic of the session, and we will look forward to resuming meetings in September. Many thanks to our program sponsor, Thompson's Trust Company. May's topic is food security in our community. Panelists for today are Chris Ellers, Community Service Director of Community Action Programs, Cayuga, Seneca, Nancy Sheffield from Calvary Food Pantry, Kimberly Patch from the Hunger Network. I welcome everyone to the show today. Welcome, and we'll start with the program. The first panelist that we're going to speak with is going to be Chris. What we're going to do is each of the panelists are going to answer 4 questions, talk about 4 questions. Those are, what role do you and your agency play in the food security in our community? What are your challenges? What are your successes? And how can our roundtable members donate and help? So with that, Chris, I'm going to let you take it away.
Great. Hi, my name is Chris Ellers, and I'm from CAP, Community Action Agency here in Auburn. And I oversee the food security program here and in Cayuga and Seneca counties. And my role as a community service director for the food security programs is that I oversee our food pantry here at CAP in Auburn, and I also oversee our food recovery program, which is funded through the Hunger Prevention Assistant, Nutrition Assistant Program through the State Department of Health. And our food recovery program is a program that does outreach to the areas for, we work with farmers, we work with grocery stores, we work with restaurants, we work with private organizations, warehouse operations, and we get their access, their food that they have access food so that they can donate it to us, where we go and pick up and then we redistribute to 32 emergency food providers within Cayuga and Seneca counties. So this wonderful coordinator that we have, Kirk McCreary, he is a one-man show, and he has, as of November of 2018, he has recovered over 200,000 pounds of food. So it's a lot of work for him, and that goes into the challenges of maybe some volunteer work and that kind of thing that we need to get a little bit more help for him. But as our role throughout the community, this program definitely helps all the food providers within the 2 counties. They have great, the programs, the food pantries and emergency food pantries, they have great rapport with our CNY food bank, but we sort of fill in the gaps so that they don't have to spend their dollars on these things that Kirk is able to get for them and have access to. So it's a great program. We work closely with Wegmans, Tops Markets, Walmart, and Waterloo. We have a great partnership with the Willard Drug Treatment Center, where they have a farm there. It's a project that they work with their trustees on, and they have, they plant, they maintain, and then they harvest. So we pick up fresh produce from them during the summer months and into the fall. So, and we're talking, tons of produce. So that's a great resource for all of the emergency food providers. Going into our challenges, we, again, challenging with our volunteer efforts. We are funded through volunteer generation to recruit and retain and recognize volunteers. We do have a great volunteer base. The people that do volunteer have put in a lot of time and effort, and we are greatly appreciated for them. We are always looking for more volunteers that are willing to do lifting, obviously, for helping out with Kirk. Another thing that our agency does do is a mobile food pantry, which provides homebound individuals with meals. We deliver food boxes to them, and we look for volunteers to drive those routes to drop off throughout the 2 counties. So volunteers are a great part of our programs, and we do depend on them quite a lot. Funding also, I'm going to say funding for our food pantry. Our increase over the past couple months has increased quite, it's a high increase. So just looking down the road a little bit, after the grant years from the food bank ends June 30th. So we're just looking for donations to help us get through until that period of time. Our successes, I would say that our successes would be that our partnerships. No one can do this project on their own. So I give a great thank you to all of our partners, all the food providers and the networks. They work very closely together. If they have a little bit more food than they can get rid of, they always reach out to Kirk to redistribute that food to other food pantries in need. And our donors, they, like I said, you just can't do this type of work all on your own, and you definitely need a lot of partners to do that. And members, I guess the greatest need would probably be, again, donations for all of our food pantry network, not just our agency, but throughout the food pantry network, so they can provide what they need for the customers that come in.
All right.
Oh, I do want to say one more thing. It is National Community Action Month, so I do have to put a little plug in for that. It's 55 years of community action throughout the nation, so I want to make sure that people are aware that community actions in each community and counties across America are recognized. They have done amazing work and to help low-income poverty issues.
All right. Well, that's great news. Thank you very much for that information. It sounds like a big thing that you can always use help with is the volunteers. I'm sure that is vital to the success that you've seen in the programs. So Chris, I thank you for your time today, and we'll be talking with you towards the end of the session here.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to talk with Nancy. Nancy, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So basically, we're going to ask the same questions. What role do you and your agencies play in the food security in our community? Your challenges, your successes, and how Roundtable members can assist and help out, donate and help.
Thank you.
Away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Nancy Sheffield. I am the executive director here at Calvary Food Pantry since 1985 when we begun. We are one of the pantries here in Cayuga County and in Auburn here. We're open 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are members of the food bank, and what we do is we provide 3 meals for 5 days for our people that come in. So we're very fortunate to be able to do that. Some of our challenges are the volunteers, as Chris said, but we are kind of fortunate because we are members of the, we're a station for RSVP, and our volunteers, of course, are the backbone to our organization. We have 39 volunteers right now, and most of them do come from the Retired Senior Volunteer Program here in Auburn. So we're very grateful for that. Our successes are that we can give so many referrals because we have so many partner agencies that we work with, and we have a great community here in Auburn. If you ask for something, it comes through. We always get it. So we're very fortunate in that way. And we always, how the Roundtable members can help, we need food and monetary donations all year long. We serve food all year long. It's not just during this COVID time when everything is really, everybody's on edge and we need more donations, but we need it all year long because people have to eat all year long. So the donations that anybody can give would be wonderful. So I thank everybody, and that's what we do. We serve food and we take care of our people here. So thank you.
All right. Nancy, thank you very much. And with that, you said that you do need donations all year long because you do operate all year long, and
Yes.
people need all year. Is there a way where people can actually set up a reoccurring monthly donation to your organization?
Yes, we have PayPal, and we do have some people right now that do give monthly donations, which is great because then we can include it in our budget.
Mhm.
So that would be a great thing. And, you know, like I said, they can do PayPal or they can mail us money on a monthly basis. And that's wonderful.
All right. Thank you very much for your information today, Nancy. And
Thank you.
as I said with Chris, we'll have some additional questions for you towards the end of this section. So
Thank
now
you.
I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Kimberly. Kimberly, welcome, and I'll let you take it away.
Hi. So you had mentioned that I was from the Hunger Network. It's actually called the Auburn Hunger Task Force.
Auburn
so
Hunger
I wanted
Task
to clarify that so
All
people
right.
can find me. So our role in the community, we started after First Love closed down. It was in reaction directly to that because First Love was the only Monday through Friday soup kitchen in Auburn. So we knew that there were people that were hungry, and a group of us gathered in December, and we decided to form this Auburn Hunger Task Force. And we started out with like one meal. It was a Christmas dinner, and it was highly successful with donations and such. And we served 40 people on Christmas Day. And that was a realization of how badly this was needed. So we went on to form the a nonprofit, and it worked really quickly. We were so afraid when all this started that we were going to be put on the back burner and we wouldn't get our 501c3, but that did come through. We are officially a 501c3. We are looking for a building. We are looking to provide food in a soup kitchen style 5 days a week, but we're going to add to that. We're going to add training to that so that people can get jobs, because a part of food security is getting people to where they can get a job that maybe isn't minimum wage, and maybe they can be trained in an area that they have no training in. We have several ideas in our mission with the training. is one that we're adding to the soup kitchen, and the other is dining with dignity. We don't want to just throw food on a plate. We want people to have nice food. And an example of that is we've been getting some really excellent donations of food lately. So like last week, we got a donation of quail eggs, which I had never had a quail egg before in my life. It's just something that I've never had the opportunity to have. But we have all these really nice restaurants that are closed, and people who sell quail eggs, well, the quails don't stop laying eggs. So this gentleman came to Calvary Food Pantry and donated them. And so Nancy said, can you do anything with these? And I was like, well, I will do something with them. I'll research it. So we made a really nice potato hash with ham and garlic and oyster mushrooms and zucchini, and we topped it with 2 fried quail eggs, and it ended up being an excellent meal. So those are the things that we try to do. One of the things in our mission that we cannot do right now is we feel that it's very important in a soup kitchen atmosphere for community to happen. We can't do that right now. It's impossible. It's against the law. But we're hoping that, you know, in the near future that that part of our mission will become a reality again, because a lot of people, that's one of the things that they mention when they are going to a soup kitchen, is that maybe it's the only time of the day that they actually get to have community with other people. And we really want to be able to provide that again. Now, in reference to the COVID-19 emergency situation, our numbers have gone up significantly, and people are hungry. And so we are providing food to whoever needs it, however we can. And we have been stepping up to that, and hopefully that we can continue doing that. We have had great rallying of the community. They have supported us. We have had donations. We have had people providing to-go containers, because to-go containers are very important right now. Normally in a soup kitchen, you wouldn't have to provide so much paper products. But right now we have to provide paper products, an immense amount of paper products, in order to get the food out to people. The other thing that we do is right now is we get donations from restaurants, because restaurants either aren't open or they aren't selling. One of the things that happened was when Denny's closed down, Patrick, the general manager, he called around. He had some of his workers call around to organizations and said, I have all this food. I loaded my Jeep 3 times with food that he donated, and I found freezer space anywhere and everywhere I could. So we've had a lot of successes through this because of the support from the community. We have not run out of food. We have learned through this. We have learned what type of food to make. We had started out with a lot of sandwiches, nice sandwiches, but a lot of sandwiches, but sandwiches are really labor intensive. And when they run out, they run out. That's it. So one of the things that we've discovered and learned through this process is making food that maybe can stretch a little further. Last week, I made a Spanish rice, and it was delicious. And it worked perfectly. And that's a food that you can pile on the plates, pile in the containers, but it stretches a long way. So this is a learning curve. It's a process, and it's one of the things that, you know, we've had to learn, that maybe sandwiches aren't the best all the time. We've learned that, well, we've doubled, tripled the people that we're serving. One of the things that has happened is a gentleman from the Harriet Tubman AME Church, he decided he wanted to deliver. And there are people that aren't coming out that need this food. And so he is specifically delivering to them, and we have partnered with him, saying, we will provide the food if you provide the delivery. So he's doing that. we're providing the food. Right now, we're up to about 128 people. That was last week, 128 people on a Monday. And we just opened up on Tuesday now. So we're serving at Calvary Food Pantry on Tuesdays because the Knights of Columbus ends their meal on April 30th every year. So then there wasn't a meal on Tuesday. So we picked up that Tuesday. Our role is to absolutely provide food when there is not food being provided. So once we get our building, we will be able to take over Wednesdays as St. Peter and John's Episcopal Church is doing right now. They did this not as a permanent thing, but until we get on our feet and get a building and are able to take the Wednesdays over. So we've had many successes through this. The major success is that we're not running out of food and people are donating and restaurants are donating. Honestly, Roundtable members, you can help by following us on Facebook, seeing what's going on. That's where we're going to post information. There's only 3 of us right now running this whole organization, so we're very busy, so we don't post all the time, but we try to get the major news out. We also have an email list that honestly, because of how busy it's been, I haven't had time to get emails out, but that will start up again eventually too. Donations are by far number 1 as to how you can help. It's the only way we're going to get a building. We have a substantial amount of money that has been donated specifically for the purchase of a building, and we're really excited about that. Food donations are welcome, but right now we just don't have the storage space for food donations. So it's a little, we can take food donations when we have the space to take them, but we can't take them all the time. We do take donations by PayPal. It's paypal.me/AuburnHTF. And the Auburn HTF is also how you're going to find us on Facebook. We also take donations by Patreon. So Patreon is another way that you can give a donation each month. And it's automatic and reoccurring. And that's Patreon, patreon.com/AuburnHTF. Or you can send checks to Auburn Hunger Task Force at 9 Baker Ave, Auburn, New York, 13021. We've been very fortunate with a lot of the people that have been supporting us through this. And I would say that it's been a whirlwind because of the community support through this. And the whirlwind isn't going to stop anytime soon, and we know it. And we just want to say that we appreciate everything that everyone has done for us through this crisis that our community is sustaining. And I will say that people are hungry. If you have any question about whether or not people are suffering through this, they're suffering. More people are hungry. Newer people are coming to get food. New people that we've never seen before are coming to get food. And this is completely needed. Thank you.
Kimberly, thank you very much for that information. It was very helpful. It sounds like at this point with the projects that you have coming up, cash donations are very crucial for you.
Yes, absolutely.
I do have one question, and it's probably kind of a basic question, but I figure we will ask. You mentioned that you're a soup kitchen. So what is the soup kitchen versus a pantry?
A soup kitchen is different from a pantry in that you prepare a meal. A lot of places serve it cafeteria style. So it's a hot meal, it's a sandwich meal. It is a prepared meal for people to come and sit down and eat. As I said before, right now people cannot come and sit down. We do try to make the meal hot. We put it into styrofoam containers. We don't like using styrofoam. We're actually trying to be more sustainable. We have had some compostable containers donated to us, and we utilize them whenever we get them. We're so excited to get those. But right now we're just in this time. We're just in this time that we have to utilize the things that we need to utilize to be able to give a meal to people. So the pantries give food to cook and prepare. We give food that's already prepared.
All right, thank you very much for that information. So, all right, now we're going to go into some questions. Nancy, I'm going to start with you. I have a few questions here for you.
Okay.
The first one that I would like to know is, can you describe the difference between the CNY Food Bank and the pantry, and what roles both of them have for the community?
Okay, the Central New York Food Bank, they're the warehouse. They collect all the food, and we are able to purchase that food at a much better price. A lot of the food is donated. We also get USDA food, and the nice thing about that is they deliver. So that really is an important part for us to have somebody that delivers. We order by the case, so we get we can get a quantity of what we need. And the pantry, we're the folks on the front line distributing the food to folks that are hungry and need the food. But without the food bank, that would be very hard for us to do, even though we have a lot of partners that help us. Because like I said, they deliver. They have a great menu. They also have a produce rescue program, which we are able to access fresh produce. We get ours every Monday. They collect produce from Wegmans, Tops, Costa, BJ's, and then we are able to purchase that for 19 cents a pound. And our people can come in any day we're open, and they can get the bread, and they can also get the produce. Right now, we just take phone calls because we're not allowing people in the pantry, but we still are giving out plenty of food, and we do give the produce when we're open. So that's the difference between the food bank and the pantry. The food bank supplies the food, we're members of them, and the pantry gets the food distributed to folks who need it.
All right, very well. Thank you for that understanding and letting us know what the difference are. They both play a valuable role. My next question is, for the pantry, do you find that cash donations or food donations are the most helpful?
Well,
we need both. But...
Yes, we do need both. But like I said, our cash can we can buy much more with cash through the food bank. Mm-hmm. So cash is it'll stretch it'll stretch it. But we always accept food, and we're very gracious on whatever that somebody does give us. But cash will buy a lot more for the buck. So.
All right. Fantastic. How has meal delivery changed? So what safety and sanitation guidelines do you need to now follow to make sure that everyone is safe, especially if they are having food delivered to their house?
Okay, well, we don't deliver the food to the house. They come in and pick up, but we do have them call in, and we set up appointments like 15 minutes apart. So the less people that come in, the less contact they have. We all wear masks. We all keep our distances. We clean everything after everybody comes in, and we have very little. We're working on a skeleton crew. We have about 9 volunteers right now, and it's the same ones that come in. So this way, it's a safety issue. We keep everybody safe.
Mm-hmm. So it's suggested that, is it now required that people call to make the appointment? Do you?
Yes.
People just, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yes. And what we're doing too is we're going through a list of people that usually use our pantry, you know, every month, and we're calling them. I have a couple that have volunteered to call the folks and find out if everything's okay, and give them our hours, and let them know what our process is now during this difficult time. So people have really appreciated the call. They said, gee, it's nice that you're thinking about us, and we didn't really know that you were still open. And so we've been taking that, you know, and we've been doing that for our folks.
All right. That's great. It's nice that you're taking the extra time to really reach out to people, let them know that you're still available. Because I'm sure that if you thought that it was closed, that makes it even scarier as far as food security is concerned for these.
Yes, and they don't know, you know, if they have to call in or what the procedure is here. So it's really helped people, and they've been very thankful that we've called them to check on them too. So.
All right. All right, Nancy, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for the community and to help serve those who are in need in this community. Definitely appreciate that. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you, and we appreciate our great community. Thank you.
All right, next up, I am going to talk with Kimberly and have a few questions for you. The first one that I have is the community has come up with some creative ways to help out. We have the food pantry sketches. Vin Gleason is doing his Rendon campaign. Farm Boy Graphics has Auburn Strong. What are your thoughts about these efforts and the positive impact that you're hopefully seeing from it?
Definitely positive impact. And not only are these efforts raising money, but they're getting our name out too, which is really important, because there's a lot of people, like I said, we're a brand new organization. There's a lot of people that don't realize that we're here. When I say we don't have a building, we don't have a building. So we don't even have a space where people can pass by and say, oh, that's the Auburn Hunger Task Force. Right now, we are serving out of Calvary Food Pantry. They are by far our biggest supporter in the fact that they allow us to use their kitchen, and we serve our meals to go right out of the pantry. So that is how these efforts are getting our name out, as well as donations, and all of them are highly successful in those two areas.
All right, fantastic. And I think we touched briefly on this, but we have seen, everyone has said that they've seen an increase in number and needs. So how are you keeping up with providing that food for a growing number of guests?
Each week we make food for more people than we expect at this point. And we've learned how to freeze food. And like I said, we've somewhat moved away from a food that is definite, like a sandwich. Mm-hmm. And we have moved toward a food that you can make a lot of and stretch it out, or just really pile it in. One of the things, since we've been making so much food, we go to places, if we have food left over, we have been taking it to Chapel House, or before the county building closed down to the public. Well, they do appointments now, but before they closed their waiting room, I would take extra meals down to the third floor waiting room for people who were sitting there all day waiting for services. So now it's basically places like Chapel House get any extras that we have, or if we have freezer space, we freeze and make a soup out of it. We're learning how to utilize our food to the best, maximize its ability, just like a restaurant would, oh, that meal, it's a soup the next meal, that sort of thing. But the main thing is we always want to make sure there's enough food. We always want to make sure there's enough good food. One time we were really surprised by the numbers, and we had to get out peanut butter and jelly. That is not the goal here, but it's what we have to do. No matter what, somebody's going to get food if they're hungry.
I appreciate two things that you've said. One is the whole dine in with dignity, but the other thing that I think is great is that you're also concerned about the food scarcity. So you're finding ways to make sure that you're creating as little waste with that food as possible. Like you said, with making a soup the next day or something like that.
Right.
So I really commend you for those efforts. It could be easy to just do what you have to, but if there's leftovers, you're definitely trying to make sure it gets into even more hands. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Now, you did mention that you do have businesses that donate food and supplies. Would you like to thank any of them right now, and any other businesses or supporters that have a
Yes,
very high impact for you?
absolutely. And this list is not exhaustive. I mean, there have been so many supporters, but I have a list of supporters here that have gone above and beyond and have been so generous, and not just with money, with their time, with their services. They have helped us with things that we just couldn't do on our own. We have some, like I mentioned Denny's before, they really, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of food that they gave us. I mentioned Calvary Food Pantry. We couldn't do this without them right now, because we just don't have a kitchen. KFC has offered food, and Parker's Grill has brought down food several times because they just weren't serving the same amount. The CNY Food Bank, we're not a partner, and it's a long process to become a partner, but they have made an exception for us through Calvary Food Pantry because of this situation. Now, when the crisis ends, or when the emergency situation is no longer considered emergency, then we'll go through the process and become a partner. But they're working with us even though we are not a partner. Parker Express LLC, it's a moving company. I can't say enough wonderful words about this company. They have really helped us out. Gwen Incorporated, Gwen Weber McLeod is a partner. I consider her a partner, and she told me that I was now her little sister, and I so appreciate that. Churches that have stepped up, and I have 3 listed here, and I think I'm forgetting one, and whichever church this is, I so apologize. But Senate Federated Church, St. Luke's here in Auburn, and Westminster Presbyterian, they have stepped up above and beyond in the help and whatever we need. And it's just been wonderful. And like I said, there are so many that I am forgetting, and there are so many community members that have been so generous over and over and over again. And I would like to list them all, but this is only an hour program.
Well, it's good to hear that it would take longer than an hour to list everybody.
Yes, it would.
Well, I think it's exciting how many businesses have stepped up. They're all facing their own issues during this time. So the fact that they realize how important this is to the community, I think is fantastic. My final question for you is, you mentioned how you just received nonprofit status, correct? So
Yes.
What does that mean for the organization? What will that allow you to do to further your mission?
We've started our grant writing processes. It's been a little tough right now because of this emergency situation. And we're all so busy, and everyone is just trying to get through processes with technology only and no in-person meetings and things like that. But now that we are a nonprofit organization, we can write grants. That's going to help us get a building as well. We're also, everything is tax deductible. We are able to give receipts for any gifts to us. If people want a receipt for the services or monetary donation, we can do that. And it gives us, having the nonprofit status lets people know that we're not fly by night. We're not just serving a few meals and then we're going to disappear. We have invested in this. We have invested our time. We have invested money in this. We have invested the whole process of getting this done so that the community knows that we're not going anywhere. We are here to stay, we are here to help, and we are here to fulfill our mission.
Very nice. And I think that's important. I feel that people will have a little bit more comfort level donating, knowing that you are nonprofit. There's certain things that we feel and think when we hear that it's nonprofit, especially for what you're doing. And it eliminates the fear of, like you said, a fly by night or waste or something like that. So congratulations on that. It sounds like you're going to do a lot of good things for a lot of people in this community. So we definitely appreciate all the hard work you're putting in, and you and your team are putting in to get this up and going.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go on to our final panelist with a few questions for Chris. Chris, I'm going to start with, you talked about the Food Recovery Network. So can you give a little bit more information as to how that does work and the benefit? Well, the benefit is pretty obvious. It increases your food coming in and donations, but can you give a little bit more information about how that works, how businesses get involved with that?
Yes. So our food recovery program is run by our food security coordinator, Kirk McCreary, and he reaches out to different organizations, being, Wegmans, Tops, Walmart, farmers. We've worked with the Henson Farms over in Seneca Castle to do gleaning work, Grismore's for gleaning work, also Owen's Orchards. They've been very generous on letting us come in. Grismore's, actually, we went into their orchards and they allowed us to pick apples. We had 4 or 5 huge bins, the big bins on the pallets, that volunteers go and pick apples. So then we stored them in our warehouse, and then we redistributed those apples to the food network, the emergency food providers. So this is what Kirk does. He goes and he searches and seeks out organizations that are willing to donate their excess foods, and he picks it up and then he redistributes it to our food networks. And so he's busy, and if there are any food providers, organizations out there that are willing to donate their excess food, grocery stores, even the mom and pop shops, we do have a partnership with the Pepperidge Farms out of Syracuse, so we can get bread and then redistribute that to our partners. And that partner list, from the Rescue Mission, Chapel House, CAPS DV Shelter, we give them food, Fairhaven Food Pantry, Moravia, Union Springs, Calvary, Auburn Hunger Task Force Project, Cato, King Ferry, St. Alphonsus, St. Peter and John's, Soup Kitchen, Brutus Senate Food Pantry, Salvation Army, and Port Byron, along with our food pantry here. So it's great work, and this program is it just benefits so many people, and it cuts down on the waste of throwing that food away. And it's good food. Kirk and I are both Serve Safe certified, so the food safety aspect of picking up donated food and grading it and inspecting it and making sure that it is passed on to our network safely.
All right.
So
your mobile food delivery, is that all to the different food pantries then, or do you do food delivery to individuals also?
So our mobile food pantry is mostly based on a referral basis. we work very closely with Nancy in Calvary. She calls quite frequently and asks for deliveries within Auburn. We also, it's a delivery service to the individual, to the family, so that they can provide food. And for people, we provide food for people that can't get out. And right now, you know, everyone's at a stay-at-home order. So we delivered, it was 260 more families than we did last March. So our total actually for our mobiles for the month of March was 353 families. So yeah, it increased quite a large number. So, and our organization with people working at home remotely, and we sort of reorganized a little bit so that people didn't have to be laid off or anything along that line. So we have some people, they're doing those deliveries for us. So that was very helpful at this time, without having volunteers coming in, and our staff of 3 down in our community services department wouldn't be so stretched. So that was a great help. So yes, the mobile food pantry has increased, and we're countywide. So we deliver and help out other food pantries that aren't able to deliver it within their communities.
Nice. Now, how does that program differ from, say, a Meals on Wheels?
Well, the Meals on Wheels, which is amazing through the Department of Aging, Brenda does a great job there. And the Meals on Wheels is a prepared food, and they service more of the elderly, where we can provide a food box that will provide 5 days, at least 5 days worth of food to these families. So the Meals on Wheels, they do it every day, a meal, so they can have a meal for that day. I'm sure they do emergency meals as well for weekends or, you know, winter days or something along that line. But so that's the difference, where we give them a food box for several days.
All right, thank you. You mentioned that to help combat the increase in need for the deliveries, you've shifted some of the responsibilities during the stay at home and
Right.
working from home. So that's helped out a lot, it sounds like, as far as keeping everything running smoothly without having to have additional volunteers come in and possibly
Yes.
put more risk to it. So I think that's a great way to reutilize people in your workforce. So,
Yes. Yeah, they actually, the mobile food pantry, what they do is they drop it off at their front door, and then we call them to let them know that, you know, ahead of time, obviously, that we're coming, and when we drop it off, so that they can, so we don't have that interaction.
all right. One final question for you, and that is, what is happening with other agencies that are part of the Cuyahoga County Food Providers Network?
Yes. Well, great question. And I was just, we have a Cuyahoga County Food Providers Network, and since we were not able to get that meeting together this past week, I sent out and, you know, asked people from all the different food pantries how they're doing and that kind of a thing. So I reached out to Fairhaven Food Pantry. They have, which is a different, unique way of doing it. They have decided that through March and April, they were only going to utilize food within their community. So they were not getting deliveries from the food bank. They were not getting deliveries from our food recovery program. They wanted to keep it very tight knit so that things were not spreading. I give them a lot of respect for, you know, doing something out of the box and, you know, making sure that it's safe for their community and the customers that they serve. Most of the food pantries are doing what Nancy's doing, in the fact that they're, you know, calling ahead of time, making appointments, and enough time so that there's no interaction and people aren't bumping into each other. We are here at our food pantry. We're doing a drive up. So people call ahead of time, or people can drive into our parking lot, call, we'll get the food box ready for them, and then we take it out to their car for them. And a lot of the food pantries throughout Cayuga County are doing that right now and not having people enter their facilities. I know that the food bank has lifted our criteria of trying to have a client choice menu for our customers. We are still doing that client choice because we have people on the phone. We can tell them what we have available for them, and again, that creates less waste in the long run. So that's been quite helpful. But people are happy with the food that they've been receiving, and they so that's been going quite nicely. Right. Also, like I said, the other, like St. Peter and John's, they're doing their bagged foods, that kind of a thing. The Auburn Hunger Task Force, what Kimberly's doing, we've heard from her. And yeah, the majority of people are just picking up and making sure that they're not coming into their facilities. So, yeah.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for all that information. And I'm just going to open it up right now. If any of the participants have a question for another member, feel free to go ahead and ask that now. All right, it looks like we're good. I want to thank all you ladies for joining us today. I think that the information that you have provided has been fantastic. The big takeaway, it seems, is you can always use donations. Cash, food are very, very important. Feel free. I ask the members of the roundtable, take a look at the Facebook pages, websites, consider donating. If it's one that is a different food pantry that is more local to your community, definitely help them out, donate. I know that a lot of these that we talked about are focused or based in Auburn, but Cayuga County is a huge county. Donate to any and everyone that you're comfortable and are able to do so. At this point, I think that wraps up our roundtable session for today.
Can I put one more thing in there?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so one more thing, just a quick little plug in the S. We are doing a Grow an Extra Row campaign. So this would be a great benefit for families to work together while they're home to grow an extra row of produce for their local food pantries to be donated during harvest time. Okay, thank you.
I love that program. That's fantastic. If I didn't have 2 groundhogs in my backyard, I would grow my first garden otherwise. I feel that none of it would actually make it anywhere with the groundhogs running around. But I love that initiative. I think that's fantastic. And I love the fact that it's something that families could do together to help other community members. So great initiative that you're starting. Is there any other initiatives that anybody may want to mention real quick before we wrap up? All right. So with that, I thank you. The Wednesday Morning Roundtable is a program of the Auburn YMCA WEIU with generous support from Thompson's Trust Company. We are so appreciative of your membership. Be well and enjoy December. Once again, thank you, ladies, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.